In this video, I will explain you how do you make this kind of website. How do you make user input parameters, like this is a slide bar, this is a text box, this is a select box where you select certain value. How do you make sure that it is coming here? Also, how do you make the default values, like when you press F5 or restart, it comes as 10, 1000, 10,000 and 4. How these default value has been set. How do you pass parameters, whatever you have selected from here to here? Like right now, if I want to get compound interest for 3 years, it is updating here. Yeah, it has become 3 here. If you make it 10,000 to 20,000, it's coming here. So how do you pass this, take this user input and display back the output here? How it is coming like this, how it is coming like a text, and all those things I am going to explain. Let me help you step by step. So just to recap, the whole purpose this time is that I just have gone by the assumption that you are knowing making basic Python code. You are just trying to develop your first web app. So this time you will learn how to develop step by step first Streamlit web app with Conda distribution. So I'm going to explain you how to install and run Streamlit app, how to learn by execution. I'm going to provide you a code which you should download, and you can make your changes and you can see on your own. We'll learn to make combo box, drop down. Combo box is for drop down, text box, slider. We'll learn how to capture user input, how to utilize user input, and how to display result based on user inputs. So first thing first, how do you install it? So first thing I'll suggest that your Anaconda distribution should be updated. If it is not, you should update your Anaconda navigator. What you need to understand, Anaconda distribution gives you plethora of files. Like when you are trying to delete it, it was telling me that there are more than 100,000 files that is deleting. So what you need to understand, when you get Anaconda distribution, it gives you plethora of file, and due to that, when you write a single line of code, lot of things happens. It's like calling lot of functions. You're calling one function which is calling in turn many other functions, GUI, other things, and that's how in this library, by writing few lines of code, you are able to get a lot of things done. So you should go to Anaconda prompt, and then you should type pip install Streamlit. Once, and I will suggest you should, let me just say, when you install, it will come like this. So when you say pip install Streamlit, it will start installing, and you should download a code and save it as comp int 00py. Now you should change the directory. So essentially what you are doing, cd, and you're going to the directory where the file name is there. File has been kept here. So I have kept it in this library, that's why I'm going. So once you do cd, it is, and if there is a spaces in between the the folder names, you have to put the double string on both sides. So it goes here. After that, what you should do, Streamlit run. This dot means very much in this library is this folder only, this program. So Streamlit run runs this particular program. So when you run it like that, it says welcome to Streamlit. It will ask for an email which I did not supply, and it gives you a URL. If you have set a default browser, it will automatically open in the browser like it has opened. So if you look at, this is where I just entered, and this the browser, it came on the browser. Now let me explain you each portion of the code, that how it is coming, so that you can understand it very well. So I have opened this code right now in Spider. So first of all, take a look. There are two libraries that I'm going to use, import Streamlit and Pandas. So understand how this value that you are seeing here 2 to 10 is coming. So for this, I created a list. So this is a list. So I passed all the value that I need, and then I said st.write and compound interest calculator. Now take a look. it is this value that is getting printed, not the hash one. I'll explain you what is the meaning of hash one. So here if you take a look, this has come, not the hash one. Actually hash is the size, it's the markup. So essentially if you go, and I'll show you certain things, let's say if you put double or let's say triple hash, it will make the font size much smaller. Look at here, it's like, you know, if I do F5 this time, it will come much smaller. It hasn't come, give me a second, I'll have to save this code. Now if I refresh, it will come much smaller. So it's the hash, it's the size. One hash is the biggest, two hash is the smaller, three hash is even smaller than that. So I'll just go back and you know, refresh it, and this time again the font of the title will become bigger. Now second thing, after that I'm saying Streamlit sidebar header user input value. So whatever I am putting in header, it is creating sidebar and putting a header. So if you look at, this is the sidebar and it has put the header user input values. Now understand what is within that. So what is within that I am calling a function, this is a user input function feature, and here I am saying st.sidebar.slider. So it is getting a slider. Whatever I am putting here comes as a text here. It's come as a text here. After that, this is the lower limit, this is the upper limit, and this is the default value. So it's saying 6 to 42 is the interest rate range, and by default it will go to 10%. So when you refresh the browser, it will say 10%. Whatever you are selecting here is coming into this int underscore rate variable. Same way, if you take a look, the text box, here it was slider, here it is text input. So whatever I have put here will come as a header, and whatever I have put here will come as a default value. So take a look here, whatever I have put here has come as a text, and this is the default value within the text box. Now let me explain you the third portion, which is sidebar.select box. Earlier it was slider, text input, this is select box. So select box is something by which you select a value, select number of years, which is coming here at the, and then how it is, like, you know, when you are doing F5, how it is going to the 4. Let me explain you. So essentially if you take a look, I have said 2. What is 2 means here? Actually it's not the actual value, it is this value. So first is the 0, index 0, then index 1, then index 2. That's why it is showing you 4. If I put 3 here, it will start showing you 5 as the default value. So let me just do that. So if I do 3, which means 2 is the 0, 1, 3 is the 1, like that. So essentially that way, if you are putting 5, it will go to the fifth 3, then it is going to the third index, which is the 5th here. So if you take a look in this, this is the 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index. That's why it is going to 5. Now all those things that you have entered, you know, through this is going into these variable, and these variables you are again putting into these, like now it is becoming like a, this is the variable, this is the value, like that. Now essentially you create a data frame. So it is creating a data frame and putting everything into the features, and when you say return feature, it is generating a data frame. So essentially by default, if you click on it, is that this is how it is coming. What you need to understand, whatever you are changing here is not coming here, it's not getting updated there, it is getting managed somewhat differently. So essentially whatever you are running by default, now if I run here also, it will not change there. You have to run it on the browser only. But what you need to understand, earlier when I had started, I had put the default value as 4, like this place is 2, means like default value of number of years as 4, and that's how it is showing here. So this is creating a data frame. Now what you need to understand, if I need to print, right, the moment I said df equal to user input features, it called this function and ultimately created, you know, this, it is returning this feature which is a data frame, and that feature data frame is getting into this df name, and that's how df is getting populated. Now other thing you need to understand, when you are putting st.sidebar, the text is coming on the left side. When you are not putting sidebar, by default it will go on the right side. So here, if you look at st subheader, user input parameters for this. So if you take a look, it has come here. And now how it is getting printed here? It is nothing but the print of the data frame. So if you take a look, what I did here, I said st write df. The moment I said write df, df is the data frame, that's what got printed here. This is actually a data frame. Now how this thing is coming? So I said the calculated compound interest is. So that particular thing is pretty easy. It's nothing but you can simply say here the calculated compound interest is here. What you need to understand here, I have defined the function of the compound interest, but it is not printing. It will print only when you are calling this function. So here obviously it is like as many times is the number of years, that many time you are iterating. So if comp is the rate is 10, then 1 into 1 plus 10 by 100, 1.1. Second time, if number of years is 3, then 1.1 will get multiplied by again 1.1, and third time is 1.1 into 1.1 into 1.1. That's how it is working. That's how it is supposed to work. So now you are taking this, multiplying this value to comp minus 1, creating the float value, and then here you are putting compound interest is str.3f, means it is putting in the formatted way. So if you take a look, it is putting with 3 places of decimal. So how will you call this function? Pretty simple. So what you do, you put df underscore 1. Why I'm putting df underscore 1? Because this function is also returning a data frame. What I did, I just created this compound interest value, and this text, that this text itself is the what is getting printed here. This compound interest is this text, and this value I am putting as a single variable into data set. And that's what I'm putting in df underscore 1. If I want, I can put df underscore 1 here. So st df underscore 1, then this is how the data frame is coming. So this bottom portion is the df underscore 1. But how this is coming? This is actually coming within the function. So if you take a look, when you are putting this compound interest, it's putting those values here, and how you are passing these parameters: df.principal, df.interest rate, df.number of years, which is the variable that you had defined here, right? That's how you made the df variable. So all these things you are passing here through these parameters. That's how the parameters is getting passed into this function, and this function is calculating compound interest, writing this text, and then making a data frame. That data frame is df underscore 1, which I am printing here. So if you take a look, this portion is coming from function, and the bottom, this print is of data frame. This is the data frame print. This is actually redundant, but I just wanted to show you how the data frame print looks. It is the header, and then the observation number, and then the actual value. That's how it has come here. And this is the print from the string. Now you can as I suggested you, download this. You can make changes on your own, and you can play around, and that's how you'll get the first very simple web app through Streamlit app. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel so that you can learn new things. Thank you for watching.